Welcome to Security Pulse, another episode.
AI use cases. I just try to build a sort of map, and this map, obviously, you have seen the SWOT analysis and business analysis. And why I plotted this way, because it's really important to know that AI can do lot of things, right? But then you should not apply AI to solve everything. This is critically important that you try to understand your problem and try to apply technology to solve the problem and don't do the tech.
I'll go with Sephora. Sephora is a low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, because the whole idea in this session, I just thought, because like you Google it, you will learn about AI, you find a lot of documents. That's not the point. The point is really let people know.
I was working on our labs in trying to generate some intelligence on the thread data that what we are having. So imagine there is the data what we are having, which is the UE data, for example, the UE logs and everything, and then we have the network logs, right? The network NF log data. So we have a lot of data coming in. Now we have to understand from that data that what threat issues we can have out of that. You know. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you all are doing great. Welcome to Security Pulse, another episode where we bring you the industry experts talk about different innovative cybersecurity solutions, news, everything what we do, as well as what the market is doing. Today is a special guest which we have in our show. Uh, his name is Saad Sheikh. Saad has been an industry veteran for over 20 years now. He's a dear friend of mine. He has been, working in telecom industry since a long time, and he has been really, an industry lead when we talk about, innovative telecom use cases. Driving value to whatever we do in terms of telecom, integrations, project, cloud innovations. He has been everywhere. I've been following him for over a decade now. He doesn't look old. He looks still young. But I mean, whenever I have to, know what's going on in the telecom industry, I just watch his post. And he has been like a nerd in telecom, I would say. And it's my pleasure to have him today. And the topic what we want to cover today is an a very timely topic, I would say. AI has been changing everything what we do in the digital landscape, but more now in the telecom industry. So it's really something which is really pressing these days. Every operator, vendor, hyperscaler, whatever we have in telecom, they are experiencing, and they are like inventing on AI, and they are doing a lot of research in this space. So we thought it's really timely that we should talk about this important topic with an industry like legend. So Saad, over to you, brother. Can you briefly introduce us about your recent achievements, about what you've been doing, and something which our audience don't know, like a fun fact about yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Taha, and I really appreciate your complimentary and very supportive introduction. But I should say, right, the idea is just about learning and sharing and growing together. And by virtue of this, yes, I got this opportunity to work across, I should say, it's not just about the years, but also the different cultures and peoples and countries, and how you say, how to accumulate all of those experience and learnings together in a way. And I have been, as Taha said, in this industry for I think more than 2 decades now. And I started off my actually role as like most of you, as the telecom and the core network side. But then in the telecom, I got chance to really go, left, right, starting from fixed network to core network and WAS, IN. And at that time, actually, I led some projects on the RAN and transport domain as well in a way. So you can consider me, I know a bit of piece about everything here. But then almost, I think when this NFV journey of this industry started, I think
Mhm.
that's 2013 or that time. And I have been, I think, an early mover there. So from the very early phase of NFV, I have been there. So working on cloud, and actually I am now in the field of AI, not like a newbie for 1 year or so. Actually, from the last 6 to 7 years, I have been in this. So for many guys who think AI is new, perhaps I can actually explain how this thing actually evolved and developed over time, and obviously with lot of now marketing and people pushing. So it's always important to see what AI is and what it is not. And the last thing, perhaps just about the fun fact, you see, this is a holiday. I am still online trying to share something. So I do work
Yes,
for
yes.
work. So it's not just a
So
matter of, yeah.
true, true, true. And this is just to, on this special, Christmas occasion, I would like to, take a moment to, wish you all happy Christmas, wherever you are, wherever you're celebrating, happy Christmas to all of you. And the guests who have joined us, really, really like glad to have you with us in this, important day. I know you have been busy with your family, but like this is all we are, like exchanging knowledge and keep upgrading ourselves. So yeah, talking about the journey of AI, Saad, can you briefly tell our audience like where this journey has started, like giving a brief overview of the AI in telecom, whole this notion that because like a lot of people thinks that when it when we talk AI, it's more of how you're interacting. If you're, let's say, going to a platform using a chat bot, how your responses are being gathered, maybe, or we are doing some predictive analysis. Is this something which we are doing on AI? But to give our audience the real feel to how the AI has been used in telecom for over the years, it's important to give us some brief background and of this, of like the use cases in telecom for AI, and how this has all started. So I would like if you can just share like a brief introduction of the AI use cases in telecom. Yeah.
Yeah, I will, and I actually put together a few slides. But before you bring those up, Taha, let me try to put this in the context, right? Because as we all know, AI is all about the context and how you solve issues, right? Because everyone, like, you talk about AI use cases, and everyone will, show you 100. But I really give you like a notion how this journey started in NFV, right? And I remember back in the 2017, 18. So on this end-to-end automation, there is a new project. We call it ZSM, Zero Touch Service Based Management. And I actually worked on the initial specs with Dr. Klaus Dimitris of Dash Telecom and others. And the whole idea was because we find in the menu and all of those management, there are a lot of gaps, and how we can do it in end-to-end automation. And the notion was very clear, right? Get the data, whatever is there, and try to run a closed loop. And then there was another one, and which we called in the ITSI ENI, right? Enhanced Network Intelligence. And back in my days in the Middle East, actually, we were very busy to actually put forward some use case and demos and how to make it work, right? And why these type of experiences are important, right? Because I think with the latest wave, the way people have learned about AI is perhaps different, right? So I really want that people understand the context, and your context is actually the network, right? And all of the things that run. And then you should know that if whatever I am telling you, right, perhaps if you are on a particular network A, you have a different problem and different architecture, network B another. And if you can't apply those modules or artifacts into your network, then actually AI cannot deliver you the use case. I just thought to give you a glimpse into this, and with this I just actually spent some time to build a view which is specifically from the telecom architects, that explains, right, like how you should understand AI and apply to your network. So Taha, if you will be able to
Course,
share
of
some.
course, of course. And as we are sharing the screen, Saad, just want to give our audience some insights about how you solve the problem. So guys, I was talking to Saad backstage, and what the thing which really stuck me, and then like in his responses. So I was asking him that, hey, what do you think about X problem, and how do you think about Y problem? He told me, like, are you looking for an insight, or you are looking for an actual solution of a problem, right? So it is important for somebody who wants to learn about, he needs to first of all understand the problem statement. Is it something which he want to know just for the sake of understanding, or he's actually wants to get something, so as you are like learning this, try to get this, try to like get this notion that you have to really understand the problem statement as we go about solving like something.
Yep. Thanks,
uh
Taha.
we share with you, yeah.
Yep, perfect. Maybe if you can go to slide number 2, perhaps that's a good starting point.
I think you can change at your end. You can just.
All right. Yep. Just let me know if. Yep. Just let me know if you can see it in full slide show mode. Uh, Taha, you can see my full screen.
Yes, we can see it, yeah.
All right. So look, the way I actually try to see this AI use cases, I just try to build a sort of map. And this map, obviously you have seen the SWOT analysis and business analysis. And why I plot it this way, because it's really important to know that AI can do lot of things, right? But then you should not apply AI to solve everything. This is critically important that you try to understand your problem and try to apply technology to solve the problem, and don't do the tech just for the purpose of tech, right? And if you see, right, I just try to put on the x-axis a difficulty level, because yes, you can apply AI, but then issue is so complex that you can't break it down. And the way I actually talk to the customers and my team is like, you need to apply AI in steps and phases, just like you peel off, right, a onion. And if you can't peel off, actually, it's quite hard to solve problem. And the reason is very simple. In a business world, you need to solve problem with accuracy, right? For example, you are in a driving car, and you can't say maybe 1% it will hit. It is, I mean, not possible, right? Same is the case for healthcare. And look in the telcos, right? Like, the whole idea is how to reach that 100% mark. You can't achieve it with just one step, right? So taking this view, right, that okay, I can start with the low hanging fruit, and which is that learn over time and then move towards a more intricate use case. And then we all know, right, the tech is maturing, and it is enabling new and new use cases. But then again, the you need to understand that everything is not mature today, right? So balancing between the two, I think it's really important. And that takes me to the real green fruit, the green apple here, right? And as you can see, that less complex and more mature, we all know we are seeing lot of use cases in the BSS, right? And again, I want to share with you, forget about whatever use cases. Think it like a problem, and the problem definition in your mind, right? Any problem you can only solve two way, either going bottom up or going top down. And this perhaps NFV and some challenges which we faced to really commercialize NFV has taught us. We learned it all across together. And that really takes us, right, because BSS, the good thing is there is a lot of data, right? When you subscribe to a packages, your all information, there is a plenty of data over here, right? And then the solutions are pretty much cloud native today, right? And actually, if you see, improving, enhancing the customer experience for your BSS really looks like the use case which is easy to prove, and most important, easy to justify the business case, right? And then from this you need to come down, right? And that come down is, I will talk about later slide, but this more about the operational use cases, about the reliability, about the performance. So, and then you need to see, right, I will try to finish the top loop, right? After you build the use cases, then actually you need to monetize it, right? And This monetizing means you really need to build a new business model, right? If you ask me till now why edge or those things got challenges, it's really about the idea that the whole ecosystem, the whole market, right? Like how you can sell it, right? And you need to understand to sell an AI, actually, you need to understand the token economy. And I will just, due to the, I think the time of this, I just want to share you just one data, right? When you do one chat GPT query, do you know how many times you hit the data and the GPU? It's almost 100 subqueries if you go. And you can't sustain it. You know, everything people talk about power and energy is really about how you can make AI from 100 to perhaps 8, 10, which actually we are doing. And the whole thing is you need to seriously think from this use case how you can move toward a tokenization or a monetization economy, right? Building GPU as a service, AI as a service, these are all some good business models, but then I think devil is in the details, right? So that's why it's a bit complex, and we really need to see how we can enable the whole ecosystem. On the bottom side, you see is all network, right? It's all about, if you are a telco guy, an operational guy, right? You want to improve the operational efficiency. You have a lot of knock documents and you want to simplify your troubleshooting processes, right? Root cause analysis. I think it's really like an ocean, but then again, it is important that you understand that this is highly process centric domain. It's not data centric, right? Ultimately every organization has its own processes, lot of telecom data, lot of 3GPP, and lot of context. Solving a problem in a network, perhaps in, kingdom in Saudi, and solving it in Belgium is not the same. And understanding this difference is really is the differentiator, right? And then one thing where actually I have been lately working a lot, and perhaps you need to check few of my blogs in Medium, is around how we can enhance the level 4 and level 5 automation with AI. And we are trying to take the same context, right? And those contexts are ZSM and end-to-end automation. How we can insert the AI agents into this. It's still early days, but I hope the whole problems of AI, you need to try to understand in this, in this four boxes, and then try to see, how we can make it work. And now you understand, I think, in your domain, how you should approach it. Then what I call, this is just is something from my mind, right? Like it's more about the AI value pyramid, right? Because you need to understand it, right? Like if you say AI enables you something, AI transform, no, it will not. It is a good technology tool, but as I mean, until you don't apply it in a very systematic way, right? Actually, you will not reach your final target here. And the way, I just trying to build of this pyramid is foundation up, right? As you can see over here, right? Like the AI in, I think, is very simple and foundation, because the thing is, right, we really need to understand that you need an AI enabled infrastructure, but then everybody cannot invest thousands or $1 million in a new GPU, right? So we need to find out a way where you can build a fat AI with a lot of power, a small AI which can actually fit into your mobile, a medium AI in a server, and all should work together. That is very, very important. And that's why here you need to see a cloud centric use cases, right? Yeah, I hope some of you guys are following the Kubernetes, LLM backed Kubernetes, where the idea is enable all of the cloud through a chat GPT type of interface. You know about the applications, there is some PCRF, where we are trying to apply the AI patterns, understand all the policies, and on the run do it. So the whole idea is AI in your every device, what's your use, right? And it's simple because at the end of the day, it is abstracted, right? If an PCRF has lot of AI thing hidden from you, perhaps you can easily support it, right? Enable it. And then you need to go layer by layer, right? Because you start with the foundation one, then you can see how I can run AI on the cloud. And again, here it's very important that if you have one cloud, you have AI and non-AI apps who can work together, right? That's critically important, that you enable a business model where which make it easy to consume, and that's easiness is the key principle over here, right? And then you can see, as you can move up, you will see AI on the edge, and the idea is very simple, right? This AI or edge or AI in the RAN is actually one umbrella, and the whole idea is, right, give AI in a very low footprint, perhaps a server, perhaps a couple of servers solving a use case. It can be a ORAN or CRAN or a traditional RAN SON use case, right? You all know today those are heavily process oriented and very labor intensive type of things, but then bringing AI on this can really simplify it. And then you need to go a bit up, right? AI as a service. I talk about it's really about enabling AI through APIs. And lately we have seen network APIs and Kamara, right? That's the same principle we are actually trying to solve through an AI APIs, right? It's still early days. We are talking actually working on Kamara as well, but then you need to understand that without this layer, actually you can't make money out of it, right? And then perhaps the AI on the OSS, BSS use cases, which I have touched, and I think there is a bit format thing. You are not able to check everything, but the top tier is really about enabling AI native thing. And what it actually means architecturally, you need to enable AI. Like in the ORAN, the concepts like the rake X apps and R apps are all foundationally applying over there. But then why it is at the top, right? Because once you achieve that AI native, you can expect AI use cases actually without any heavy lifting. You no need to integrate anything. You no need to, like AI is just built in into the product, right? But I still believe that type of things are more like a greenfield use cases. They are mature actually. But then if you are having a pure brownfield network, then right, like just introducing even an R and X app in a brownfield integration with lot of those stuff, it's not as simple as it sounds, right? So I think I will just take a sort of pause over here, Saha, and I just thought
Yeah.
that yeah, to transfer like.
Yeah, I think this is very good. We just want to have like couple of like comments here. One is, see, you can do a lot of things with AI, right? From planning to like to design to operation. There is a, like, in every domain you see a use case, but it is important to just not do a rat race that, hey, everybody is using, so I should use that as well. Try to find a problem statement and then use your resources accordingly, because as you will start using, peeling off the onion, as Saad mentioned, you will be finding out that as you will implement, for example, an AI agents or use AI as a service solution, then there would be scalability and performance issues that can comes up, like that can come up. There can be some data security and implementation challenges that would come up, right? You need to have enough resources in order to, have you scale and have you troubleshoot all these things, so this is something which will come as part of the solution. Yeah. So this is something which you need to think through, that you need to have a problem statement in order to use AI. That is one. Secondly, you have to take a phase-wise approach. Try to understand where you are in terms of your maturity level, like whatever network you're having, and try to do. If you have to implement like a cloud native solution, so try to check the compatibility as well within the workloads, whatever you're having. So that's why I like to send on this.
Yep.
Saad, would you be sharing this thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, yep.
Okay,
Yep, I will
so you
do
can
so.
continue.
As you said, just come from the mind. Yes, a little formatting perhaps will help, but yeah, I will be sharing the deck as well.
Okay, so you can continue with, like, this is one more slide.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So, I just thought like in the initial talk about AI, how you should apply AI, what is the value chain of the AI, and then it is very important now if you know something, right? and you have a partner who claims, okay, I can solve a lot of it, then how to actually touch your network, right? And that is where I think it's very important to understand that you cannot solve a problem with AI if you can't well integrate or tightly integrate into this, right? So it's important that you first of all build the right foundation, right? And to build it right, you can really, like, the north star is more like build a framework of autonomous networks, right? Because you really need to understand, right, there is no reason to buy a Ferrari if you're in your hometown and there is no road, right? Or it's all, I mean, in the dirt. So this framework is really the starting point, and as you can see over here, most of the components on this architectures are pretty ITSI or TMF and well known to the team. But if not, perhaps the most simple definition is you need to consider each of your network domain as one standalone entity which needs to be automated. We call it domain orchestrator, right? On the extreme right, you will see more like a telco core, cloud, OSS, BSS. Then you move all the way till you reach the access, right? So there is a big chunk of transport and RAN and then you need to understand, if there is one broken string in this, then you cannot achieve full automation. And that broken string can only be solved if you apply some data, right? Forget about the just AI, right? Because sometimes I think there's a lot of marketing, and I just try to explain it in a way that people really feel that how we can do it, right? And that is why, right, in this architecture most of the networks have this in place, or they have orchestrator, they have BSS, they have some sort of domain. What is really missing, if you see the pillar over here, and what I really want to emphasize over here, that there is two key part. The first thing is AI must look bottom down or top down, but it should connect all layers. So for example, if you don't have the right observable infrastructure, actually you can't solve any issue in full. Yes, still you can solve something on an application on a data layer, but then you need to consider it's not accurate, perhaps it's not as reliable, and the net story will be you can't reach your business objectives, right? So really trying to enable it in a way that it becomes a full management domain by itself, which we called AI ops. By the way, AI ops is more an IT term, right? Perhaps at some time we need to come with telco, I don't know, AI ops or telco, some specific terms, but the whole notion is the whole big management framework that can see all the layer till BSS, right? And it exists in every component and every piece. And then you need to integrate it across. You need to integrate it with the CI/CD or automation domain, because at the end of the day, you need whatever AI decision is, right? You are able to apply it as well, right? And then there is a lot of generative AI stuff which is happening on the above layers, including the cloud. So I just thought that you take it in a way, but then you need to see this is really the AI. And this is actually one of the work, and I should say a bit proud moment, because I actually working in this initiative on CNCF, actually lead my team at my company. So we are actually working in CNCF, and the whole idea is, the cloud and all of those. We are trying to build the architecture how this AI can becomes cloud native. We call it cloud native AI, but the whole principle is how this open and horizontal cloud can really enable to productize AI. By productize, I mean it's more reliable, it's more cost friendly, and most important, it's scalable, right? You can stretch it. It's not something for which you need $1 million to make it work. And you can, I will add a link to the paper, and we are working on another paper on the data security and trustworthiness, and it's coming shortly. But What I really want to see, if you are a telco guy, you need to forget about telco and zoom in into this architecture, because this will tell you that how you will integrate or enable AI into your network and platform. And the two layers which are we know about hardware and infra, nothing I think crazy about it. But then what is an AI platform and what it should do? So you really need to see that it's not about training a model. Training a model, perhaps if I apply a Pareto law, it's perhaps only 20%. 80% of time is the other thing. What is other thing? Perhaps you are an architect, a vendor comes and he claims, I have a model, I will apply, I will tune. So you deploy it, right? But then your operation team see what you have deployed. Perhaps it's sniffing the data. Then a guy say, I need my operational tools and all of those observability into this. And then it don't finishes here, right? Perhaps the AI applications needs an API way to integrate it, right? And then this is one time, and then you do it so many times, right? Because you will get a new data, and then you need to apply a more CI/CD. So how to do it, right? It's not just a matter of cloud. Ultimately, a data pipeline has a lot of other pieces. You need to scan the data. You need to make sure it is regulatory compliant. And imagine if data is in bulk and it is streamed, how you can do it, right? So you really need to peel on this layer and build it, right? And then as you move up, right, I think this is really important that you try to see that how you will do the ML ops piece into this. In other words, you really need to make sure whole of your complexity is abstracted, right? And then I think the top layer, I'm just trying to share in a way that in the AI world, right, actually your LLM is also a workload. You need to think it like a workload. So it means that somebody will gives you an image and you need to deploy, but then the below two layers is critically important for you, because otherwise it's a workload which is not performing well, and then you can't reach your outcome here, right? And the last piece, perhaps, which is critically important, is more like trusty AI or guardrails. The whole concept is, right, you can't let this LLM or AI thing sit into your network. You need to continuously monitor this guy. He's not doing anything fishy. Everything is compliant. You can do a policy sort of decisions. And that's pretty much, I think, the journey of the cloud native in the telcos. So perhaps I will take a pause, but here I just trying to explain how you should apply AI into your networks and do a sort of tight integration over here, right? So yeah, perhaps
I think, yeah,
it's a pause for a
very good.
question. So
Like fascinating, and just looking at cloud native AI, I think Saad, you will agree with me that this is something which is a build like a foundation block for a 6G 6G like 6G standardization work as well. So this is where this all will feed into that 6G standards as well. So this is something which is really important. Uh,
yep,
Another
absolutely.
part is, if you think about the LLMs, so there is LLMs workload, there is machine learning ops, observability, all those things come in. But one thing to note here is, as you will include these design decisions, and bring those agents coming in, and just sniffing the data, so you will be also hit by your security teams for data security and governance things, right? So it is important to, as you are like architecting such solutions, try to shift the security towards the left hand side, which is to do it in the design, then to do it after, when you will complete it, right? Because if you think from the vendor's perspective, vendors are here to sell you, and you will buy it if they will pitch you that, hey, this is an AI centric or an AI, like a cloud native AI solution, but it is important to consider also the like the implementation issues as well that would be inherited by this solution. Yeah.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, and perhaps I will like to share a bit of here, right? Like, you know, the word AI, right? I shared it at the start because people are working on this domain for many years. I myself into this domain for almost 6 7 years now. But the thing is, yes, you can achieve lot of stuff with AI, but the whole notion of building those architects was you really need to apply it. And actually, if you see the data domain, why I put foundation in the first slide and AI in data, because it's critically important that when you build your network, so you try to think how I can build an observable network, right? And what really you need to understand in the typical telco network how it happens. And like you have a 5G or whatsoever, as your ABC. Ultimately your operation team minimum granularity is 5 minutes. Perhaps if you do below that, vendor will tell you it will overload, it will this. And you really need to understand that the marginal or advantage what AI gives you is actually within those 5 minutes. Imagine that you are running a sport event in your country and there is an outage of a few seconds, and actually you are done, right? The restoration and all of those. So you need to really see if there is an anomaly. You are able to detect it and fix it on the fly. It's not like an issue happen and alarm will come and somebody register ticket and he will call A B C D. And that is the whole notion what I really wanted to share. So to answer your view, you need to understand two fundamental principles here. The first simple principle is networks are becoming with cloud very complex. If any telco is thinking that, look, I have very hardworking people and we know cloud and we can do it with that sort of scale, especially
Mm.
let's forget about 6G, because 6G still a few years ago. Just consider now, because perhaps it will help you to understand why you take the decision now, right? Because every time we hear you talk about this, customers say, yes, you are right, we will do it finally cloud native, but let me first finish this rollout. You really need to understand that we are approaching a point where networks will be not profitable at all. And why? It's very simple. You are increasing complexity, but you are managing it in the same old ways, which is not going to happen, right? We can learn it. There are a
Mm.
lot of
Mm.
industries. So first, as I told you, how you can achieve this level for automation and apply AI. But then, as you said, right, you can't let AI just become the boss, because you need to monitor and control it. Because imagine, right, some data leakage, some fraud, and that is both aspects that actually you need to solve. And there is a lot of architecture, a lot of use cases actually, which really helps you to build it, how you can build this pipeline in a way. So
Got it. Really good. Saad, I want to shift the like the discussion towards some of the Q and A's I have. I wanted to have your insights on this, insights and the real the like the problems. So talking about AI, one thing that I have noticed, a lot of operators and vendors are using AI for network optimization. So we in a telco world, we have these issues where somebody is experiencing a packet drop, or customers are facing issues, network are having site outages, all those side of problems. So in your experience, how do you think AI can help us in trying to predict network outages, better manage resources, and is there any good use case you can think of which operator has able to achieve all that with AI?
yeah, absolutely. I will share you something and show you a sort of data that explains one project we did recently, right? But again, now you need to first understand, right? Like I should say there is two key points here. One is performance and one is reliability. And actually, both of those you need to first try to solve independently and then try to see, can I build one umbrella which is solving, like kill two, I think, birds with a single stone. So you really need to see, right? Like when it comes to performance, what comes into your mind, right? Ultimately it's about customer, right? Perhaps if you have a big network and you can optimize the bandwidth, you can increase the speed, right? This all actually leads to a better performance. Other can be KPIs, right? As an operational guy, going from 98 to 98.1 is big. And all of those domains can be addressed, but then the question is how you will do it, right? So for example, we are working with a partner, and their whole value prop is like this, right? They will take a sample of your data. They don't need whole data, right?
Okay. Okay.
And if you go back, because you really need to see in the telecom network, getting the whole data is not as simple as perhaps in IT or other domains. There is a RAN team, there is this team, and the whole notion is, we called it taking data, sample of data, tune it, enhance it, productize it, improve it over time. We call it synthetic data generation. So the whole game of performance revolves around it, because it gives you the head start. Imagine like this: you are an operational guy, right? If I tell you now with 90-95% accuracy that, look, go into your core network and change this flag and your KPI will improve from to this percentage, it's not easy problem, because many vendors can tell you in a document or formula way, but no one can go into the network and zoom in and go look everything. And that is what we are actually trying to do. So you really need to see supporting role of AI, right? You can model your network. The other use case perhaps is more like the digital twins. And there was a time when people say, oh, what is this digital twin? But it's a reality now. And the whole idea is, now we are sitting in the new year, and you all know in Australia, the whole world floods into the country, and people and this and that. What about if I tell you that on your this new year, how much traffic will be around, how customers will be moving, how what will be their calling trends? If you are a operational guy, actually it's a very clear low hanging fruit. Go and do it, and do it perhaps on a limited time scale with a limited data. And obviously I told you 1995, you feed in more data, it can go up, but 90% actually means you can improve your outcomes a lot. So
Nice.
that perhaps is an important piece here. And then reliability, I think, is a very interesting topic. And let me really try to start so that people understand the reality of it, right? You really need to understand, okay, you can solve many problems, but then which problem you will solve first, right? It's very like if you have a limited budget and $1,000 and your wife is asking buy this, ultimately prioritization becomes the key of life, right? And for that,
I'll
I
go
think
with Sephora. Sephora is a low hanging fruit.
yeah, because the whole idea in this session, I just thought, because I jump in, like, you Google it, you learn about AI, you find a lot of document. That's not the point. The point is really let people know what this journey is all about, where there is a dent in the road, and how they can move over the dent and make it work, right? And what I was telling you, that look, you need to see AI in all domains in a way. Like, I give you very simple example. Somebody will call you that, look, that I can enable AI, I can do the power optimization of the network. But then that's not AI. This is an assurance use case. Anyone who have a good understanding of the whole equation, he knows that if you get a data and you tell above this CPU or above that condition, it's assurance, right? For me, the way I see it, AI is something which you cannot see. You are an operational guy, whole day, there is a big screen. If you are able to see everything, then actually that's not AI, right? The whole AI
Yeah, true,
concept
true,
is, yeah.
true,
So
true.
one problem perhaps I want to call out, perhaps there are two. The one key problem which you can actually apply and solve is anomaly detection sort of scenario. And what anomaly actually means, imagine that there is a big country. Let's me, because obviously I live in Australia, perhaps I have better insights. So from east to west, there is a like it's big continents, and it's perhaps 4 5,000 kilometers. And then there is a huge amount of traffic going, and there is a lot of transport involved in this, and then everything is normal. But then somebody finds that some service is not up. How you will solve this problem? That is basically, as you will gather the network data, right, you will try to understand the patterns into this. Okay, like, so imagine like this: there is a person or a network point A, and there is a point B, one in the east, one in the west, and they are talking for a week, and then the pattern changes. Still network is up, KPI is fine, but there is a fishy thing happening, right? And through the AI, actually, we are trying to solve those unnoticed problems. Same actually
Hmm.
goes to
Hmm.
the fraud domain, because the problem is, if there is a CDR, if there is a detection, it's actually not AI. The AI whole concept is this data enables you in a way that you actually solve a problem which no one can see. That is actually an AI, right? And
Hmm.
that is
Yeah.
perhaps two use case. And perhaps the last one which I really want to mention is on the cloud, right? And I will mention about Red Hat perhaps because I've worked with many partners, but then because I do a lot of the hand stuff on the OpenShift and this ecosystem a lot. So recently we had been working on this OpenShift AI, which is more like LLM based Kubernetes. And if you are a guy, just try it out. Don't take my word. Obviously, I'm not working with Red Hat here, but and you will feel it. In a typical telco cloud, to put one cluster, you need 10, 15 different YAMLs, and you need an expertise. A normal person, I tell you, like I'm RCA level 2 now. If you ask me, okay, build this script, I also need a time to think. So imagine, like, it's not easy, right? I will be very open and transparent. And then imagine that if you open the chat interface and ask him, look, I need to make a cluster, this, that, and it can give you all the manifest with 90% accuracy. And that is not enough, because anyone perhaps can come, okay, I have an LLM, I can do it. The more important is, based on your cluster data and sizing data and metrics, it will gives you a more updated view of your world. I am not interested in someone's world. I am more interested in that's my network,
Hmm.
how I
Hmm.
can make
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
So I really want that this topic of use cases, you need to change, how they say it actually in the world, that if you need to change the game, change the frame, right? Actually, you need to change that how you are going to use AI to solve problems. Don't do AI just for the sake of AI. Try to think
True. True.
and try to capture the value, right? And I think that's
True.
pretty much, I think the
True,
point.
you made very good points, Saad. And one thing I just want to pick it from you is the use of the in the planning or in the operational stage when you want to build YAML scripts and build a design like an LLD. You usually do a template and then you check the requirements and then you see what is the target architecture, the target requirement of the customer want, and then you build the architecture out of it, right? That is how we do it. So that is, I think, that one of the good use case. What I also feel is like Gen AI can also help in trying to make this this whole process efficient. And the other use case I really like is from the threat detection perspective as well. Like recently, just to give some insights to our audiences, I was working on our labs in trying to you know uh, like generate some like intelligence on the threat data that what we are having. So imagine there is the data what we are having, which is the UE data, for example, the UE logs and everything, and then we have the network logs, right? The network NF log data. So we have a lot of data coming in. Now we have to understand from that data that what threat issues we can have out of that data. So you can, in a normal like a security world, you have the mitre framework, what you notice, and then you have a motive framework from the GSMA. You try to map those threads into these different frameworks, and then you identify that what are the TTPs, right, for you. So this, like, the Gen AI would can tell you exactly that which framework, which clause would be the best fit for your data, right? So this
Yep.
is something in which you can take away, and you can help your operations team, like the security operations team, in trying to like decipher that information. Because see, the operations team may not be aware of the data of the UE, maybe what is the context of the data. So the AI and the Gen AI can help them in order to better make some decisions, right? And that decisions then can be built into an algorithm for a use case, right? So this is something which we can build on. See, the important part is, if you go to any cybersecurity conference, you will see those buzzwords like Gen AI and telecom and this LLM and this, right? It is important to, as we see the theme of the topic in the discussion, what we are having is trying to identify the problem statement, right?
Yep.
And then take it from there. So this is something which I want you guys to like think through as we are discussing all this.
Yeah, perhaps Taha, for our upcoming paper, actually is in the cloud native security. I will, once it will published, I will be sharing with you. I think it's good to let people understand this the way you explain. But I really want to enable, like when you talk about security, this is a classic area where AI can help, and how you should actually apply this, that becomes the key. Because first you need to see, if you have a cloud or network, right, your security team will come to you, every week or two, right, and they say apply this patch and that patch. And that's quite reactive approach. Somebody, it's like a policeman in a handful approach. And for me, that's a classic starting point, right, to apply an AI, because the pain is really high. And if you talk to the network people, they're really scary. Oh, I do it, and my security team will come. You will not imagine, typically in a telco cloud, 3 to 6 months, this exercise continue every year. And it continue whether there is a project or no. This keep on, I have some very close friends, they keep on asking and all this and that and now. And imagine like this, how this whole thing start. So there is a bug or a problem or CVE, and a vendor publish those documents online. And from that publish to the patch, the cycle is perhaps 8 weeks, 12 weeks in some case. What about if AI can reduce this cycle from 12 weeks to perhaps a week? Yes, it's not as
Mhm.
simple, but the whole idea is that you build a sort of your own RAG, perhaps not RAG, perhaps graph is better in there, right? But the whole concept is, you will connect with all of your vendors real-time documentation. You connect to your network, and actually you can get a score, right? Okay, this new document come, this is the state. Because consider it like this, if there is a security bug and in your network context it can never become a threat, what about this? Maybe still you want to patch it, but this information your normal security guys don't know, or they don't do assessment at that level, because they're security guys, right? But they are not perhaps a cloud expert. So doing this approach, so it's really about, right, going, how you say it, hard at it. You need to stroke it. And because for me, I think that is really definition, because the pain is there, the pain is high, and use tech and solve it and win the day.
Got
I
it.
mean, that's
True. Just two things I want to call out here, guys. So this like discussion is more moving towards the AI security and governance part, which I like it, like personally. So two of the things which really strike out when we talk about Gen AI and AI, and is something which is cost. So there are two kind of people you will came across. One is which want to use all AI, or all security. We want to use security control, and they have a lot of like budget, right? Like they have a like they are like private enterprises which are like sitting on a like lots of cash. And then there are other people who thinks that, hey man, if I have a issue, then I'll think about what to do on this issue. And they are more of a like a reactive mode person, right? In all of these cases, like one thing which really which you can really tell them is, if they can use AI to better manage cost, and to better like get the ROI on whatever they're spending. For example, if I can tell you that, hey, give me your requirements, give me your data, I'll tell you what security controls would be benefit would would benefit you. What do you need exactly, right? How do you better manage risk, and how do you better manage performance, while you are managing your risk. So because in telco world, guys, if you are using any agent based solutions, no matter how good an AI is, but you have to also consider the performance aspect, because see, at the end of a day, what we really care about is the user experience, like how much latency bandwidth we are getting out of the network what we are building, right? So even if you are using AI workloads, and if it's not getting you the desired performance, or your operations team is not satisfied, then you don't have to use any of that AI, right? So this is something which you need to consider on how to reduce cost as you are implementing, as well as how to make better ROI decisions, and better monetize whatever you are spending out of your pocket. That is something which is I want to give as a like a key takeaway here.
Yep.
Moving on, Saad, just want to touch on some of the emerging trends on AI. What you see in telco. If I like just Google out, I've seen like reports coming in from Nvidia. There is reinvent happened just recently. AWS has their own version of AI, right? Then there is like microcomputers coming in which are building the GPUs and all those things. And so based on your view of all this, what do you think are some of the emerging trends coming in the AI world with telecom? If you can just like shed some light on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Taha, look, it's really based on the telco strategy and where they want to play, right? Like, I think there is no one answer to everything, but I really want to show you something which is really happening and perhaps going unnoticed. And the first and starting point is really about this Kamara thing or API as a service thing, because you really need to see if you build a best architecture, a best apps, but then the whole ecosystem is not aligned in a way, right? I think the outcome is very hard to sustain in a way,
True,
right? You can
true,
achieve
true,
it, but you can't sustain
true.
it. And that takes me to some of the use cases. And again, we built some prototype apps, and perhaps it's on my YouTube channel and other channels, which is in my intro deck. The link, you can see it. But the whole value prop is like, uh, if all of those information which data gives you, if you enable it, it's fine, but you need to provide this as a very standard API towards the application so that you can consume the value. In other words, you need to reduce those API calls, which is perhaps 100 today, to 8 to 10. If you do it, actually AI will not be expensive anymore, right? It will not be a challenge on the energy and all of those. So I think that's the first point I want to call out here. The other key thing is to understand how you will integrate and use that data, right? And maybe it is a less problem for other industries, but for telco, whatever trend you study, it's useless if you can't integrate and ingest and evolve it. And I again ask people to go and search synthetic data. And there is a project we did for many years. It's not 1 year. It even before the term Gen AI was well known, we were doing this project. And this project name was Thoughts. That's THOTH. And the whole idea was how we can synthesize the data, right? I told you, telco will give you some data. You need to take it as a good sample and generate 20% more through synthetic data and improve the accuracy and go on. I am definitely seeing that there is a more role to play in this space. And perhaps the last piece is agentic AI. Maybe the term is new to you, but the whole idea is move ahead of this AI or LLM. We need, instead of asking them and querying them, we give them task. And agent will not only solve, it's more like multi-step thing. It's not like, for example, Taha, just do this activity. It's more about you need to do it. You need to take 5 subjects, make sure your GPA is above 3.5, and make sure you go to school every day, right? And it is not as simple as it looks, right? But I think that is definitely a thing which is coming with automation. I definitely see it, see is gonna, because we are working, maybe again you can check on paper, I put a whole architecture how it's gonna happen. But then I think we will make it more like AI native. It's hidden inside, but the whole value prop is agent will not just becomes a passive model. It's more become like a intelligent person who can take a job and finish it and report to you, right? So yep, that's I think.
I think really, really exciting and really scary as well. I would really want to, see this being adapted, and because there is a lot of, problems in the telco world. If you notice, there is, always something which is coming in and coming out as well. We have legacy systems. There is one world which is still sitting on the 3G world, and then there is another world which is sitting on the 6G world, right here. So we need to really, use AI to bridge this gap, like to bridge this gap and to better make the like the better world, for all of us to live here.
Yep.
I think we are just closing in, Saad. It's been lovely to have you, with us, and guys, it's been an absolutely pleasure, having his insights, and Saad is, very well like recognized, and like he's reachable as well. I mean, like anybody who wants to know more about what amazing things he's doing, reach out to him. We'll be and please continue to like sharing your thoughts on this. Is you like the way you share, like the see there's a lot of people I know who share insights, who share things, but you would have to like decipher that information. But with the things with Saad, is the way he shares, it's actually simplified information, which is easy to understand. So this is the thing which I also like about him. So thank you all of you who have joined us in this Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas to all of you again, wherever you are. I hope you are having a wonderful time with your family, with your loved ones. Happy New Year from our side as well. Wherever you are. Sarah, any like closing thoughts from you before we go?
No, thank you very much. It is great, and as I said, it's more like journey. I don't like the idea of this webinar prepare and showing us stuff which anyone
Mm,
can Google. It's more about, I
mm,
think, sharing, learning, and improving. I think that's the cycle, and it's more about building your own AI model in your mind and try to welcome the feedback and optimize it. And I hope next time perhaps I will have a better, more, perhaps more better view on how we can do it. And the whole thing is how we can work together. And I see some friends' messages, some friends I used to work perhaps a decade ago, and this, and I really value it, and I still remember them, everyone, right? So I will be responding to the messages, and it's a great pleasure to be here. And thank you very much, Taha, for that.
you're welcome. You're welcome, Sad. And we'll invite you like next time as well. And we want to see a like an AI version of you sitting with us as well. Answering some of the questions. Because see, guys, it's we have a lot of to. We can spend like 10 hours on this episode, right? There's a lot of information which we can cover, but there is only limited what we can do, like in this time. So like, thank you again, for coming. And if you want to share your comments, feedback, please leave your comments, and we'll be posting up this video very soon on our YouTube channel. Please do follow us. We all support your comments, and it is very encouraging for us. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm Taha, Sajid, signing off from Security Pulse. Thank you very much.
Thank
Goodbye.
you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.